Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Yet another shooting in Tottenham. And I know what you're thinking, but guns are illegal, so how can this be possible? You don't mean to say that criminals don't care for the law, do you? That's just unfathomable. That criminals committing crime don't care if they commit another crime. Wow. And that the people who were on the receiving end of the shooting weren't legally allowed to have the things required, the equipment required, in order to defend themselves and save their own lives. Wow. So, by the lack of effective policing and not identifying the core root of the problem, innocent people are dying? That doesn't seem right. But what have we seen in America, of course, where apparently their shootings are rife? So, that they also happen in the states with the strictest gun laws, and 98% of mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. It's all starting to make sense now, isn't it? So yes, Tottenham triple shooting, man critical, 2 boys hurt. And the response has been predictable, of course, of, oh, what a tragedy, isn't this frightening, something's got to be done. But what can be done? We don't know. Maybe we can address the root cause of the problem and go, maybe it's more of a societal shift. Maybe if we had more community cohesion, maybe if people knew who their neighbours were, and that there weren't competing cultural identities in order to try and supersede each other, and then the lack of male role models because men have been demonised by the media for so many years, and even by the advertising authorities to say, oh, you can't be having that, and then within communities as well to say, no, you don't need a man because a woman can do everything herself, as long as, of course, she can find a man in order to pay for everything and never see the children so that those children don't get a role model, which is far more important than the money. Because, believe it or not, poverty does not cause crime. However, crime causes poverty. I know, what a shocker. Shocking. That if there's a lot of crime in an area, not a lot of people want to invest. Not a lot of people want to move there. Not a lot of people want to spend money there. And it's beggars belief, isn't it? That you don't want to set up a shop where things are going to get stolen from you. I know, it's unbelievable. And yet, that is the situation that we find ourselves in. And it hasn't always been that way, of course. That you can still find the same, and I use examples from America simply because it's such a bigger place where there are more disparities. That if you do have a lot of people who are poor, then they don't have such a high crime rate. Almost as if there's something else that's telling you what's going on. And you could pick someone like Detroit if you wish, which was doing very well. The crime started creeping up. The jobs were being lost. And as the crime keeps going up, the jobs keep getting lost. And then nobody wants to work there. No companies want to move there. And now it's just crime-ridden instead. Funny that. And of course, what causes this to happen? Well, the main one is a lack of male role models. And this is particularly true in a particular community the world over. Which community might that be? Well, let's just see what the BBC has to say. After they say that a man and two teenagers have been injured in a triple shooting in North London. The man is now critically ill. They were targeted on the Broadwater Farm Estate in Tottenham at about 1:45 a.m, the Met Police said. Officers believe the gunmen arrived in a car, carried out the shooting, and they left in the same vehicle. Detectives say a 19-year-old man is in a critical condition, and 2 15-year-old boys are also in hospital with serious injuries. One of the 15-year-old's injuries have been described as life-changing, while the other is not thought to be in a life-threatening condition. Commander Paul Brogdon said, and here we go, this was another appalling crime, where 3 young black males have become victims in our capital city, 2 of whom are actually children. The Metropolitan Police will leave no stone unturned to bring to justice those responsible, but we need the help of Londoners to break the cycle of violence. Bullshit. That yes, I know, if the victim is black, you're going to say you're going to do all you can in order to bring justice and hold the people accountable. But, of course, once you find out that it's gang-related and the perpetrators are also black males, then you're not really going to want to do anything. And I know that in this ad here that they're showing things about George Floyd, you might be aware that the George Floyd Memorial in Manchester, which it really shouldn't exist, has been graffitied with so-called racist graffiti. And instead of dealing with burglaries and intrusions and threats to life and attacks and things that police should be doing in order to save lives, they're saying if anybody knows anything, there's a £1,000 reward for coming forward with it. Yes, we're not going to worry about saving people's lives, but if you write something rude on a career criminals memorial, we're coming after you. So, again, the priorities seem to be very, very misplaced, and we see the same in cities the world over, really, that they are controlled by the elitist left cohort who have no idea what they're doing. They are absolutely clueless. All they do is pander and then rely on collective guilt and the victim narrative and say, you're helpless where you are, but I'm going to give you everything you need because of these evil right-wingers. And that is what they do. What is the result of that? An utter shit show. Time and time again. The closer you get to socialism, the more shit you get from it. And at this point, it's not just a theory, it's a law. It's a rule of nature. And the fact that people haven't caught on yet is ridiculous. Because it is just it's a cookie cutter template. You go for socialism, you get fuck all, other than a whole list of dead people. You're not going to increase prosperity, you're going to increase body counts. And it's either going to be the state authorising the use of deadly force in order to kill the dissidents, or it's going to be the disorder that you're seeing because you've got your protective groups that you're not going to do anything about. So Detective Chief Superintendent Trina Fleming said there will be extra police in the Tottenham area in order to investigate the shooting and to reassure the community. It's a bit late for that, love. I fully understand how frightening this will be, she added. These incidents cannot be tolerated. A society cannot be indifferent to the plight of young people who are being injured and killed on our streets. Would you like to mention why that's happening? And I don't know about Detective Chief Superintendent Trina Fleming, of where she lines up in understanding why these things are caused. Because some police, of course, go along with it, and they even agree with it and say, we can't address the elephant in the room, that this is a cultural shift and that's the problem. And other police are going, well, bloody hell, we want to be able to do our job. We got the job in order to serve and protect, and yet the bloody politics that we're getting from the head office, from top down, from the governmental agencies in order to tell us how to do our jobs, are making us hamstrung. And we literally cannot do the job we're supposed to do, because if we state the obvious, if we actually try and address the core reason that these things are happening, then there are going to be tribunals, we're going to get fired, and then that's going to go on our record, and we're not going to be able to get another job. So now we're in this shit position where there's nothing really we can do, other than maybe leave the police force, in which case, of course, who's left? It's just people who aren't going to address the obvious. Because even the people that are, let's say they keep their mouth shut and they try and do the job, well, that's still not good, because it's going to be, why are you always patrolling these black neighbourhoods? Why all you arrest black people? So, well, what the fuck are you supposed to say then? Are you supposed to come clean and say, I am keeping the most people safe, because that is where the crime is? Is that your best bet? That it's not a race thing, it's just where I am. It's like, yeah, but it shows that you're mainly arresting black people. It's like, yeah, but I'm also saving the most amount of black lives. Doesn't that matter? It's like, no, it doesn't, because you can't really measure that, you see. You can only measure how many people you're arresting. And then you're in this god-awful position whereby those people are never going to get promoted, they're never going to be respected for the service that they're doing, and instead, they're going to have to leave. So again, all that's left are people who want to just sing from the hymn book of political correctness, of cancel culture, which is basically the same thing, and they're not going to speak out about the actual issues that we're experiencing. And yes, I know that there is a small quiet revolution which is a stupid word for it, really, to say that this revolution is just admitting what everybody knows and we've known for millennia. I mean, you could say, like, if you don't make it politically charged, which is bloody difficult in this day and age, but if you say to somebody that, hey, do you think that a young man would do well to have a role model that he could look up to in order to know what he should be doing with his life? That chances are you're going to get yeses across the board. But for whatever bloody reason, if you then suggest that his father should be the one, or God forbid it should just be a man, then that's when the bloody mob is going to come for you. So you can't say it. So even though the core reasoning of every young boy, every young girl should have a role model they should look up to, and should have a strong male role model, a fatherly figure, an encouraging disciplinarian, and you'll get agreement to the vast majority of that, all of it if you can phrase it correctly, then if you say that, okay, so logically speaking, the most reliable way is to get somebody who cares very deeply for that child, wants the best for them, and is invested in their future. So, well, yes, of course, definitely. Can you think of anybody that will be better than their father for that? So, no, that makes sense. Right. So how about we stop disincentivizing fatherhood and maybe encourage that family, that nuclear family parent unit? And then you get pushback for it. So what the fuck are you on about? We've just established that this is the best way to go forward. And yet for whatever bloody reason, you're now screaming bloody murder that it's racist. Why is that? If you're saying that's racist, that's not the reason. That it's the single parent households, the broken homes, then you're saying it's down to race. Then you're the bloody racist. But that's where we land. So as they wrap up, a BBC analysis of homicides across the capital show there have been more than 70 murder investigations started in the capital this year. 9 of them have been as a result of fatal shootings. 6 of them have happened since the start of June. Oh, as in people cooped up, don't have a job, don't have purpose, go to gang life instead, don't have money to pay off the shark loan debts. And now there are more shootings. Funny that. But yeah, maybe you should do something in order to get the education in the right bloody place, sanctity of life, meaning of life and all that, and then allow people to defend themselves. Because the only way this is allowed to go on is because the victims are also men. Because I bloody guarantee you, if the victims were then women, there would be bloody uproar about this. And rightly so. If anybody's the victim of this, there should be. And you want to know the best way a woman can defend herself against a man? Again, it's going to be a gun. It is. That just evens the playing fields. It's the universal equalizer. It always is. That doesn't matter how big and strong you are, if you get shot half a dozen times, you're going down. And the person pulling that trigger can be a fifth the size of you. It's still going to be fatal. So yes, it's the universal equalizer. And that's why it's so bloody good when police take so long to respond. And it's also good to not be reliant on the police, because you can't be reliant on somebody to bail you out of the situation you find yourself in, because that's not how life works. If you do want to go down that route, then you can't be looking at a government, you've got to be looking at a deity or a god instead, because you're looking for someone who's omnipresent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent, in order to know exactly what's happening, what's best, and then doing the nice thing for you. No government can do that. Only a god figure can. So if that's what you're looking for, then maybe look into religion, but stop pretending that a human being is capable of that. They're not. They don't care about you. You're on your own. So maybe take matters into your own hands and understand that if you're in a bad situation, it's probably because of you. But you know what that means? If you're the reason you're in a bad situation, you are also the one that can get you out of it. And if you can get out of a bad situation, you can put yourself in a good situation. And if you can put yourself in a good situation, you can put yourself in a great situation. And if you can put yourself in a great situation, you can put yourself in an amazing situation. And it doesn't stop. If you've got that character to always strive for better for yourself and those around you, then the upper limit is solely your imagination. So, hey, why not take a chance? Why not give it a go? Why not make it happen? But until we get this kind of message across, we're going to see the same headlines again and again. So, do what you can for yourself and those around you. If you believe in the butterfly effect, you know it's going to help everybody else as well. So, as always, until next time, have a good one.